And in fact, the very famous astrophysicist, Dr. Jacques Vallée, who some of his work ended up in Steven Spielberg's movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And he's up in his 80s now. And in 1992, he wrote a book, and he had a log entry where he had received a 1985 CIA document that outlined, for psychological warfare purposes, them using these advanced technologies that look like an alien craft and other technologies to, quote, abduct peasants in Argentina and Brazil for their psychological warfare value. Now, that's in black and white. And so people go, this sounds crazier than the myth you've been told, and it is. But why would they do that? Werner von Braun, in his deathbed in 1974, told a member of my team, Carol Rosen, that their plan is to create, eventually, an hoax, a threat from outer space, to try to unite the world, like Independence Day, the movie, in a sort of a military global junta of humans against aliens. It's all nonsense. It's BS. But it sells well. It sells movies. It sells tickets. It sells books.
This is the Blue Beam, Project Blue Beam?
Yeah, that related to that. And I've met with many men who've been on operationally, like literally have been operational on those programs. Now, it went from really clunky stuff, like the Betty and Barney Hill abduction. People think that was alien. It wasn't. It was us. Late 50s, early 60s. And I think President Obama was actually working on a documentary about that. And it was an interracial couple, and a very interesting story. But most people have no idea what really happened with that. And this is one of the really disturbing parts of this archive, is what are the technologies that are in the hands of these sort of monsters, and how have they used it to deceive the public, but also deceive policymakers and presidents. You know, I talked to a man named Colonel Holman, Holman. He passed away, and this was maybe 5 years ago. And he was on a committee trying to sell first Carter, who wouldn't bite, and then President Reagan on SDI, Star Wars, the Strategic Defense Initiative. And they weren't biting. And then he said, what we did, we eventually played the alien threat card. And that's when Reagan signed on to it. Now, he was prepared to do so because I'm working with an older CIA officer with a PhD. That some of his information is in the archive, but his name's redacted because we still work together. And he actually was a postdoc, had a PhD, and briefed candidate Ronald Reagan in 1979 when he was thinking of running for president on the UFO issue, because Reagan had had a couple sightings, including one on the governor's plane that you may have heard about. It's well documented. And so, you know, President Reagan, here's one of the problems of the president. You get into a position and say you're a governor, or you're a real estate developer like Mr. Trump, whatever you are, or, you know, Mr. Carter said he was a peanut farmer. He was actually a nuclear engineer and the top of his class at Annapolis. Very smart, probably our highest IQ president. Politically not very good, but he was very, very smart. But and you're going to come in there, and the people who are going to come in and brief you on this, if you ask, you're either going to be told nothing, and I know this because I've dealt with it, pretty much every bit of presidential involvement since Clinton. You're either going to be told nothing, or you're going to be told a version of the truth that manipulates you into decisions they want to make. They want you to make, and that's what happened to Mr. Trump and Mr. Pence, and also to Ronald Reagan. So it's dangerous. That kind of secrecy. Let me tell you why it's so dangerous. It's the foxes, and there's manning the hen house. You know, who's overseeing this, right? Who's looking into this, and who is in charge? Well, it certainly isn't the president. They come and go every 4 to 8 years. Members of Congress come and go all the time. So there's sort of this permanent committee, a few hundred people, and they've arrogated this, because it's so secret, the right to do this. But they cannot be trusted.
Who do they report to?
Themselves. I mean, this is a global operation. And by the way,
it's a global operation. So from different countries.
100%. No, it take the map of the world and erase all the geopolitical lines. It doesn't matter. And that's actually, when the Senate intelligence people wanted me to come in, there was a map of the world in the conference room in the skiff. And I said, see that map? Erased all the lines on it. These folks, the world is their oyster. They operate as they want.
Who nominates them?
Nobody. They move up through the chain of command or through corporations.
How do you move up?
You're moved up by giving a little information, see what you do with it. And if you can keep the secrecy. But more importantly, once you reach a certain level of clearance, and you realize how monstrous and criminal the operations are, will you stay with that? I'm dealing with a team right now that I can't see. I won't even say what state they're in. But let's just say in September, I was on a classified helicopter over 2 black sites and was shown where the underground openings are out in the desert, where the man-made ones come up and are tested. But there are also electromagnetic pulse weapons that are illegal by the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty that are, and I have video and photos of this. One of the photos is in the archive. I'll just tell you that. And there looks like there's a landing strip. It's not. It's an area with diamonds on it, and that's where the man-made, some people call them ARVs, alien reproduction vehicles, come up from underground. And I have the photos and video of the underground opening. We went right around it because this guy was cleared. He's one of the top people in the system, but he's wanting to defect.
And it's one of these 100 people, one of these couple hundred people?
He's very high up. I wouldn't say he's on that policy level, but operationally, he's been read in for many, many, many years, and he's very high up.
What's his reason? And so you went there and you actually saw it?
Yeah, videotape. I have all of it.
And it's public?
Some of it. Off the air, I'll show you the video of it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.